Visit to a small planet stock shot, the night sky, stars. Then slowly a luminous object arcs into view. As it, almost upon us, dissolves to the living room of the Spalding house in Maryland. Superimpose card, the time, the day after tomorrow. The room is comfortably balanced between the expensively decorated and the homely. Roger Spewing is concluding his TV broadcast. He is middle-aged, unctuous, resonant. His wife, bored and vague, knits passively while he talks at his desk. Tim technicians are on hand, operating the equipment. His daughter Ellen, a lively girl of 20, fidgets as she listens. Into microphone, and so, according to General Powers, who should know if anyone does? The flying object which has given rise to so much irresponsible conjecture is nothing more than a meteor passing through the Earth's orbit. It is not, as many believe, a secret weapon of this country. Nor is it a spaceship as certain lunatic elements have suggested. General Power has assured me that it is highly doubtful there is any form of life on other planets capable of building a spaceship. If any traveling is to be done in space, we will do it first. And those are his exact words. Which wins it another week of news. Crosses to pose with wife and daughter. This is Roger Spalding, saying good night to Mother and Father America, from my old homestead in Silver Glen, Maryland, close to the warm pulse beat of the nation. Good show tonight, Mr. Spalding. Thank you. Yes, sir, you were right on time. Spalding nods wearily, his mechanical smile and heartiness suddenly gone. Very nice, dear. Very nice. See you next week, Mr. Spalding. Thank you, boys. Technicians go. Did you like the broadcast, Ellen? Of course I did, Daddy. Then what did I say? Oh, that's not fair. It's not very flattering when one's own daughter won't listen to what one says while millions of people. I always listen, Daddy, you know that. We love your broadcasts, dear. I don't know what we'd do without them. Starve. I wonder what's keeping John? Certainly not work. Oh, Daddy, stop it. John works very hard and you know it. Yes, he's a perfectly nice boy, Roger. I like him. I know. I know, he has every virtue except the most important one, he has no get up and go. Precisely, he doesn't want to get up and he doesn't want to go because he's already where he wants to be. On his own farm, which is exactly where I'm going to be. When we're married. More thankless than a serpent's tooth is an ungrateful child. I don't think that's right. Isn't it more deadly? Whatever the exact quotation is, I stand by the sentiment. Please don't quarrel. It always gives me a headache. I never quarrel. I merely reason, in my simple way, with Miss Know-it-all here. Oh, Daddy. Next you'll tell me I should marry for money. There is nothing wrong with marrying a wealthy man. The horror of it has always eluded me. However, my only wish is that you marry someone hard-working, ambitious, a man who'll make his mark in the world. Not a boy who plans to sit on a farm all his life, growing peanuts. English walnuts. Will you stop correcting me? But, Daddy, John grows walnuts. John enters, breathlessly. Come out. Quick. It's coming this way. It's going to land right here. What's going to land? The spaceship. Look. Apparently you didn't hear my broadcast. The flying object in question is a meteor, not a spaceship. John has gone out with Ellen. Spalding and Mrs. Spalding follows. Oh, my. Look. Something is falling. Roger, you don't think it's going to hit the house, do you? The odds against being hit by a falling object that size are, I should say, roughly, 10 million to 1. 10 million to 1 or not, it's going to land right here, and it's not falling. PM sure it's a meteor. Shouldn't we go down to the cellar? If it's not a meteor, it's an optical illusion, mass hysteria. Daddy, it's a real spaceship. I'm sure it is. Or maybe a weather balloon. Yes, that's what it is. General Powers said only yesterday. It's landing. I'm going to call the police, the army. Bolts inside. Oh, look how it shines. Here it comes. Right in my rose garden. Maybe it's a balloon. No, it's a spaceship, and right in your own backyard. What makes it shine so? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Runs off toward the light. Oh, darling, don't. John, please. John, come back. Spaulding wide-eyed returns. Roger, it's landed right in my rose garden. I got General Powers. He's coming over. He said they've been watching this thing. They don't know what it is. You mean IFS nothing of ours? They believe it. Swallows hard, it's from outer space. And John's down there. Daddy, get a gun or something. Perhaps we'd better leave the house until the army gets here. We can't leave John. I can. Peers nearsightedly. Why, it's not much larger than a car. I'm sure it's some kind of meteor. Meteors are blazing hot. This is a cold one. It's opening. The whole side's opening. Shouts, John. Come back. Quick. Why, there's a man getting out of it. Sighs, I feel much better already. I'm sure if we ask him, he'll move that thing for us. Roger, you ask him. Ominously, if it's really a man. John's shaking hands with him, calls, John darling, come on up here. And bring your friend. There's something wrong with the way that creature looks, if it is a man and not a monster. He looks perfectly nice to me. John and the visitor appear. The visitor is in his 40s, a mild, pleasant-looking man with side whiskers and dressed in the fashion of 1860. He pauses when he sees the three people, in silence for a moment. They stare back at him, equally interested. I seem to have made a mistake. I am sorry. I'd better go back and start over again. My dear sir, you've only just arrived. Come in, come in. I don't need to tell you what a pleasure this is, Mr. Cretin. This is the wrong costume, isn't it? Wrong for what? For the country, and the time, well, it's a trifle old-fashioned. But really awfully handsome. Thank you. To husband. Ask him about moving that thing off my rose bed. Spaulding leads them all into living room. Come on in and sit down. You must be tired after your trip. Yes, I am a little. Looking around delightedly, oh, it's better than I'd hoped. Better? What's better? The house. That's what you call it? Or is this an apartment? This is a house in the state of Maryland, USA. In the late 2E century. To think this is really the 2E century. I must sit down a moment and collect myself. The real thing. Ale sits down. You're not an American, you? What a nice thought. No, I'm not. You sound more English. Do I? Is my accent very bad? No, it's quite good. Where are you from, Mr. Cretin? Evasively, another place. On this Earth, of course. No, not on this planet. Are you from Mars? Oh dear no, not Mars. There's nobody on Mars. At least no one I know. I'm sure you're teasing us and this is all some kind of publicity stunt. No, I really am from another place. I don't suppose you'd consent to my interviewing you on television. I don't think your authorities will like that. They are terribly upset as it is. How do you know? Well, I pick up things. For instance, I know that in a few minutes a number of people from your army will be here to question me, and they, like you, are torn by doubt. How extraordinary. Why did you come here? Simply a visit to your small planet. I've been studying it for years. In fact, one might say, you people are my hobby. Especially, this period of your development. Are you the first person from your planet to travel in space like this? Oh my no. Everyone travels who wants to. It's just that no one wants to visit you. I can't think, why? I always have. You'd be surprised what a thorough study I've made. Recites, the planet, Earth, is divided into 5 continents with a number of large islands. It is mostly water. There is one moon. Civilization is only just beginning. Just beginning. My dear sir, we have had. Blandly, you are only in the initial stages, the most fascinating stages as far as I'm concerned. I do hope I don't sound patronizing. Well, we are very proud. I know, and that's one of your most endearing primitive traits. Oh, I can't believe I'm here at last. All right, folks. The place is surrounded by troops. Where is the monster? My dear General, I'm the monster. What are you dressed up for, a fancy dress party? I'd hoped to be in the costume of the period. As you and I am about 100 years too late. Roger, who is this joker? This is Mr. Cretin. General Powers. Mr. Cretin arrived in that thing outside. He is from another planet. I don't believe it. It's true. We saw him get out of the flying saucer. To aid, Captain, go down and look at the ship. But be careful. Don't touch anything. And don't let anybody else near it. Aid goes, so you're from another planet. Yes. My, that's a very smart uniform, but I prefer the ones made of metal, the ones you used to wear, you know, with the feathers on top. That was 500 years ago. Are you sure you're not from the Earth? Yes, well, I'm not. You've got some pretty tall explaining to do. Anything to oblige. All right, which planet? None that you have ever heard of. Where is it? You wouldn't know. This solar system? No. Another system? Yes. Look, Buster, I don't want to play games. I just want to know where you're from. The law requires it. It's possible that I could explain it to a mathematician, but I'm afraid I couldn't explain it to you, not for another 500 years, and by then of course you'd be dead, because you people do die, don't you? What? Poor fragile butterflies, such brief little moments in the sun. You see, we don't die. You'll die all right if it turns out you're a spy or a hostile alien. PM Shi wouldn't be so cruel. Aid returns, he looks disturbed. What did you find? PM not sure, General. Heavily, then do your best to describe what the object is like. Well, it's elliptical, with a 14-foot diameter. An IFS made of an unknown metal which shines, and inside there isn't anything. Isn't anything? There's nothing inside the ship, no instruments, no food, nothing. To Cretin, what did you do with your instrument board? With my what? Oh, I don't have one. How does the thing travel? I don't know. You don't know. Now look, mister. You're in pretty serious trouble. I suggest you do a bit of cooperating. You claim you traveled here from outer space in a machine with no instruments. Well, these cars are rather common in my world, and I suppose, once upon time, I must have known the theory on which they operate, but I've long since forgotten. After all, General, we're not mechanics. UNL Roger, do you mind if we use your study? Not at all. Not at all, General. Mr. Cretin and I are going to have a chat. To Aid, put in a call to the Chief of Staff. Yes, General. Spaulding rises, leads Cretin and Powers into next room, a handsomely furnished study, many books and a globe of the world. This way, gentlemen. Cretin sits down comfortably beside the globe which he twirls thoughtfully. At the door, Spaulding speaks in a low voice to Powers. I hope I'll be the one to get the story first, Tom. There isn't any story. Complete censorship. I'm sorry, but this house is under martial law. I've a hunch we're in trouble. He shuts the door. Spelding turns and rejoins his family. I think he's wonderful, whoever he is. I wonder how much damage he did to my rose garden. It's sure hard to believe he's really from outer space. No instruments, no nothing. Boy, they must be advanced scientifically. Is he spending the night, dear? What? Is he spending the night? Oh yes, yes, I suppose he will be. Then I'd better go make up the bedroom. He seems perfectly nice to me. I like his whiskers. They're so very comforting. Like Grandfather Spelding's. She goes. Bitterly, I know this story will leak out before I can interview him. I just know it. What does it mean, we're under martial law? It means we have to do what General Powers tells us to do. He goes to the window as a soldier passes by. See? I wish I'd taken a closer look at that ship when I had the chance. Perhaps he'll give us a ride in it. Traveling in space. Just like those stories. You know, intergalactic drive stuff. If he's not an imposter. I have a feeling he isn't. Well, I better call the family and tell them I'm all right. He crosses to telephone by the door which leads into the hall. I'm sorry, sir, but you can't use the phone. He certainly can. This is my house. Mechanically, this house is a military reservation until the crisis is over, ordered General Powers. PM sorry. How am I to call home to say where I am? Only General Powers can help you. You're also forbidden to leave this house without permission. You can't do this. PM afraid, sir, we've done it. Isn't it exciting? Cut to study. Are you deliberately trying to confuse me? Not deliberately, no. We have gone over and over this for 2 hours now, and all that you've told me is that you're from another planet in another solar system. In another dimension. I think that's the word you use. In another dimension, and you have come here as a tourist. Up to a point, yes. What did you expect? It is my job to guard the security of this country. PM sure that must be very interesting work. For all I know, you are a spy, sent here by an alien race to study us, preparatory to invasion. Oh, none of my people would dream of invading you. How do I know that's true? You don't, so I suggest you believe me. I should also warn you, I can tell what's inside. What's inside? What's inside your mind? You're a mind reader? I don't really read it. I hear it. What am I thinking? That I am either a lunatic from the Earth or a spy from another world. Correct. But then you could have guessed that. Frowns, what am I thinking now? You're making a picture. 3 silver stars. You're pinning them on your shoulder instead of the 2 stars you now wear. Startled, that's right. I was thinking of my promotion. If there's anything I can do to hurry it along, just let me know. You can. Tell me why you're here. Well, we don't travel much, my people. We used to, but since we see everything through special monitors and recreators, there is no particular need to travel. However, I am a hobbyist. I love to gad about. Taking notes, are you the first to visit us? Oh, no. We started visiting you long before there were people on the planet. However, we are seldom noticed on our trips. PM sorry to say I slipped up, coming in the way I did, but then this visit was all rather impromptu. Laughs, I am a creature of impulse, I fear. Aide looks in. Chief of Staff on the telephone, General. Picks up phone. Hello? Yes, sir. Powers speaking. PM talking to him now. No, sir. No, sir. No, we can't determine what method of power was used. He won't talk. Yes, sir. Let's hold him here. I've put the house under martial law. Belongs to a friend of mine, Roger Spelding, the TV commentator. Roger Spelding, the TV. What? Oh, no, I'm sure he won't say anything. Who? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, I realize the importance of it. Yes, I will. Goodbye. Hangs up. The President of the United States wants to know all about you. How nice of him. And I want to know all about him. But I do wish you'd let me rest a bit first. Your language is still not familiar to me. I had to learn them all, quite exhausting. You speak all our languages? Yes, all of them. But then it's easier than you might think since I can see what's inside. Speaking of what's inside, we're going to take your ship apart. Oh, I wish you wouldn't. Security demands it. In that case, my security demands you leave it alone. You plan to stop us? I already have. Listen. Far off shouting aide rushes into the study. Something's happened to the ship, General. The door's shut and there's some kind of wall all around it, an invisible wall. We can't get near it. To camera, I hope there was no one inside. To Cretan, how did you do that? I couldn't begin to explain. Now if you don't mind, I think we should go in and see our hosts. He rises, goes into living room. Powers and Aide look at each other. Don't let him out of your sight. Cut to living room as Powers picks up phone. Cretan is with John and Ellen. I don't mind curiosity, but I really can't permit them to wreck my poor ship. What do you plan to do, now you're here? Oh, keep busy. I have a project or two. Sighs, I can't believe you're real. Then we're all in the same boat. Boat? Oh, yes. Well, I should have come ages ago, but I couldn't get away until yesterday. Yesterday? It only took you a day to get here? One of my days, not yours. But then you don't know about time yet. Oh, you mean relativity? No, it's much more involved than that. You won't know about time until, now let me see if I remember, no, I don't, but it's about 2,000 years. What do we do between now and then? You simply go on the way you are, living your exciting primitive lives. You have no idea how much fun you're having now. That's very nice of you. Perhaps I will. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of having a visitor underfoot all the time. Certainly not. And Daddy will be deliriously happy. He can interview you by the hour. What's it like in outer space? Dull. I should think it would be divine. Powers enters. No, General, it won't work. What won't work? Trying to blow up my little force field. You'll just plow up Mrs. Spelding's garden. Powers snarls and goes into study. Can you tell what we're all thinking? Yes. As a matter of fact, it makes me a bit giddy. Your minds are not at all like ours. You see, we control our thoughts while you, well, it's extraordinary the things you think about. Oh, how awful you can tell everything we think. Everything. It's one of the reasons I'm here, to intoxicate myself with your primitive minds, with the wonderful rawness of your emotions. You have no idea how it excites me. You simply seethe with unlikely emotions. I've never felt so sordid. From now on PM going to think about agriculture. Entering, you would. Daddy. No, no. You must go right on thinking about Ellen. Such wonderfully purple thoughts. Now see here, Powers, you're carrying this martial law thing too far. Unfortunately, until I have received word from Washington as to the final disposition of this problem, you must obey my orders, no telephone calls, no communication with the outside. This is unsupportable. Poor Mr. Spelding. If you like, I shall go. That would solve everything, wouldn't it? You're not going anywhere, Mr. Cretan, until I've had my instructions. I sincerely doubt if you could stop me. However, I put it up to Mr. Spelding. Shall I go? Yes. Powers gestures a warning, do stay, I mean, we want you to get a good impression of us. And of course you still want to be the first journalist to interview me. Fair enough. All right, I'll stay on for a while. Thank you. Don't mention it. General, may I ask our guest a few questions? Go right ahead, Roger. I hope you'll do better than I did. Since you read our minds, you probably already know what our fears are. I do, yes. We are afraid that you represent a hostile race. And I have assured General Powers that my people are not remotely hostile. Except for me, no one is interested in this planet's present stage. Does this mean you might be interested in a later stage? PM not permitted to discuss your future. Of course my friends think me perverse to be interested in a primitive society, but there's no accounting for tastes, is there? You are my hobby. I love you. And that's all there is to it. So you're just here to look around, sort of going native. What a nice expression. That's it exactly. I am going native. Grimly, well, it is my view that you have been sent here by another civilization for the express purpose of reconnoitering prior to invasion. That would be your view. The wonderfully primitive assumption that all strangers are hostile. You're almost too good to be true, General. You deny your people intend to make trouble for us. I deny it. Then are they interested in establishing communication with us? Trade? That kind of thing? We have always had communication with you. As for trade, well, we do not trade, that is something peculiar only to your social level. Quickly, which? PM not criticizing. As you know, I approve of everything you do. I give up. You have no interest then in, well, trying to dominate the Earth. Oh, yes? I thought you just said your people weren't interested in us. They are not, but I am. You? Me? I mean I. You see, I've come here to take charge. Of the United States? No, the whole world. I'm sure you'll be much happier and it will be great fun for me. You'll get used to it in no time. This is ridiculous. How can one man take over the world? Gaily, wait and see. To aid, grab him. Powers and Aid rush Cretan, but within a foot of him, they stop. Stunned. You can't touch me. That's part of the game. He yawns, now, if you don't mind, I shall go up to my room for a little lie down. I'll show you the way. That's all right. I know the way. Touches his brow, such savage thoughts. My head is vibrating like a drum. I feel quite giddy, all of you thinking away. He starts to the door, he pauses beside Mrs. Spaulding, no, it's not a dream, dear lady. I shall be here in the morning when you wake up. And now, good night, dear, wicked children. He goes as we fade out.